What is up, guys? Chris here, Bear Market Mining. Thanks again for stopping by. So today we are talking home ASIC miners. I'm going to take you through my top picks for any budget. We're talking under $1,000 and over $1,000. And there are a few really good profitable picks in both sections. So what I want to do is take you through the different specs of some of these miners. We'll talk about what coin they're mining, the profitability, and of course the cost, to see if it's something that you might be interested at getting into. Let's get into it. So let's kick it off with our first under 1,000 home mini ASIC miner, the IceRiver AE2 Aleo miner. So this is $1,040, but I do have a discount code, which I'll leave the details for down in the description. Saves you $70 off anything. So it pushes you just under that $1,000 range, which is really nice. If we check out some of the specs, some of the really important stuff to note. The very low power draw, so only 100 watts this thing is using, and giving you 60 mega hash on the ZK Snark algorithm. So this is the algorithm that Aleo is on, and these miners have been selling like wildfire. You know, they're really popular. They're plug and play, really easy to set up, and of course they use no power, no heat issues. You get a 180-day warranty with them. And they're just a really good beginner miner, right? So this would be something you could get straight into without a lot of knowledge and start earning some crypto. So let's have a look at what it's actually making. So as of this current stage right now, after electricity, this is all in USD at about 10 cents per kilowatt hour. It's making about $1.31 a day. So, you know, small cost, small returns. You're gonna see that theme continue throughout the video. So $1.31 profit per day and $477 per year profit. So you'd be looking at a couple of years to pay this thing off. Or if you had free electricity, if you were renting or something like that, you could pay it off even sooner with $564 of revenue. Now, one of the things that makes these little mini ASICs, and particularly this AE2 really good, is the efficiency. So as we can see, a 1.67 joules per mega hash. So this is basically just a reading of how much hash rate you're getting for how many watts you're using. So the lower the number in this case, the better. And as you can see, this new range of IceRiver Aleo miners is right at the very top of efficiency. And efficiency is what's going to keep you in the game the longest. So a good little budget miner to get you started. Next up in our sub 100 category, we've got the iPollo V2X. Now this is an Ethereum classic miner. Some of you, I'm sure, have heard of Ethereum. If you're a bit newer to this, coins like Aleo might sound a little bit strange, but this is an Ethereum classic miner, or ETC, coming in at $1,060 or just under with that discount code. Again, one of the great things about these little units, really low power, 165 watts, really low noise at 50 decibels, maybe even a little bit less. You know, they're small, they're compact. They don't actually look too bad, these ones either. And of course, they are profitable, which is what we're doing this all for, right? So again, if we're looking at the profit, very similar to our first miner, the AE2, about $1.23 after electricity. So again, looking at just over a sort of 2-year ROI on this one. Now the benefit, I guess, to Ethereum Classic as opposed to Aleo is it is more tried and tested, right? You go and do your research on Aleo versus Ethereum Classic, you'll see that Ethereum Classic has a much longer history and is a little bit more reliable, right? You wouldn't be as concerned about the coin price just absolutely dumping, whereas Aleo could come with some of its risks, but so far, so good for Aleo. Now looking at the V2X again, where are we on the efficiency chart here? We can see right at the very top of the chart. So 1200 mega hash or 1.2 gigahash at 165 watts. So efficiency is what's going to keep you online the longest. And this V2X is pretty much the best in its class. Just below this Jazz Miner X44P. But at 2,500 watts and a $15,000 price tag, I'm not going to include that in our at-home miners. So that's what we're looking at for number 2. The V2X, a really good option if you're looking for something easy to get into. Option number 3, and the last of our options for our sub $1,000 plug and play home crypto miners, is the VolcMiner D1 Mini. Now, I'm sure a lot of you, again, if you're newer to the crypto stuff, have surely heard of dogecoin. This is a dogecoin miner, or more specifically a script miner. That's the algorithm that it is running on. Again, with that discount code, just under $1,000, like all of these are, hence the sub $1,000 category. Using a little more power, 500 watts this one, but definitely an easy one to use. I've actually got a video which I'll put a card up above about the setup for all of this. 2.2 gigahash on the script algorithm. Again, very, very little noise, low power, can be run on any voltage as well, which is really, really good. Talking profitability on this particular miner, definitely the most profitable out of these 3 options. It's making about $2.04 a day after electricity. So looking at sort of just over a year, maybe 14, 15 months to pay this one off at current rates. Of course, that's if nothing changes, the hash rate doesn't spike up and the price doesn't dump. Of course, if the price goes up, you make your money back a lot quicker. Now this can also be merged mined, which basically means it's mining a number of different coins, which is increasing your profitability. Or you can put it on a program called NiceHash, which will pay you out in Bitcoin, which is a really good safe option as well. Now looking at efficiency, where are we? We got the D1 Pro here. D1 Mini Pre right here. So as you can see, 0.23 joules per mega hash. Definitely not the most efficient of the miners, but probably one of the most efficient, well, definitely the most efficient sub $1,000 at home Dogecoin miner. And look, for 2.2 gigahash at 500 watts, 0.23 joules per mega hash, this is still very efficient. Just when we're comparing it to the very best of the best, it's going to be hard to compete, because Dogecoin is one of those coins that's very well known and is being mass produced, these miners, by bigger companies like Bitmain as well, who generally will have the most efficient miners. Moving now into our above $1,000 category, we're going to start out with the iPollo V2H. Again, this is an Ethereum classic miner, coming in at about $2,500. The coupon code again will get yourself down depending on which size version you wanted, whether it's the 3.2 gigahash or the 3.6, but you can figure all that out on yourself. Now again, very plug and play, these sorts of units. As we can see, like we said, it's mining the ETH ETC algorithm, 475 watts, so really low power again. It is plug and play. Fairly hefty, 12 kilograms, or what's that, about 25 pounds, something like that. So it's pretty sturdy, this miner, and can be run in any sort of temperature, really. Any sort of moderate temperature, you're going to be able to get away with it. This again, you can use on NiceHash and things like that. As we look at the profitability now, making about $3.47 a day. So as we said at the start of the video, sort of the more you spend, the more you're going to make. That's kind of how it works. $1,265 a year after electricity, which is, decent sort of passive income, putting you again at about the 2-year ROI if nothing changes. You can mine Ethereum Classic straight, or you can put it on NiceHash, get paid out in Bitcoin. As we said, a really, really safe option. When it comes to efficiency, this is efficient as all the other iPollo models in this range. So pretty much the top of its class, just behind the Jazz miner. So another really good option, obviously more expensive, but got to spend money to make money, but definitely more risk involved as we start to move into these more expensive units. Moving on to our next above $1,000 miner. Looking at the $2,000 range now, we've got the IceRiver AE1 Lite. Again, this is an Aleo miner on the ZK Snark algorithm, coming in at about $2,000. Now, similar to our AE0 we saw at the start, but 5 times the amount of power, and of course much more hash rate, 300 mega hash to 270 mega hashes. Now, something to keep in mind with these Aleo miners is the hash rate does seem to fluctuate quite a lot. Through hour to hour, it will spike up and spike down, but it does pretty consistently come out to that sort of 24-hour average at around 300 mega hash. This one again is plug and play. It's quiet, 100 to 240 volts, so you can run it anywhere. And best of all, it's nice and profitable. $6.53 a day, or $2,385 per year. So you're going to pay this one off in about 11 months if everything stays the same. So definitely more risky, definitely more of a gamble, but if you're into gambling, then this might be a good option for you. Of course, the most efficient in its class. Pretty much all of these are a similar sort of efficiency. This is the AE1 Lite, I believe we just looked at. Yep, so 1.67 joules per mega hash. It doesn't get more efficient than this when it comes to Aleo mining. Sticking with Aleo, now stepping up in price as well, $3,699. This is the big brother of the AE1 Lite. This is the AE3. Now with that price tag, that increased price tag, it's got double the amount of power and double the hash rate. Again, all the same sort of specs, plug and play, reasonably quiet, any sort of voltage. But let's talk about the profitability now. So as you can imagine, it doubles, right? So again, $13 a day this time, $4,770 a year. So if we look at that price tag, in theory, if everything stays the same, this will pay itself off. So looking pretty nice with these Aleo miners. As I said, I've got a couple myself. So far so good. So let's knock on wood and hope they can stay that way. But remember, this is much more of a gamble on Aleo, right? This isn't your Bitcoins or your Ethereums, things like that. Ethereum Classic, where it's got a pretty stable hash rate and a gradually increasing hash rate, I should say, and a pretty gradually stable profit. This could drop out of what tomorrow. So always remember that before you go and look at spending $3,700 on one of these miners. Moving on to our next miner, and we'll sort of do these last two in together because they are the same models. We've got the same brands, I should say. We've got the Fluminer L1 Pro and we've got the Fluminer L3. So as we can see, they come with a $2,800 price tag and a $4,700 price tag for the bigger model. So the specs on the L1 Pro, 1400 watts. So we're stepping up in power here pretty significantly from our D1 Mini that we saw at the start, but we're also stepping up in hash rate, 6 gigahash per second. So these are also, as we'll see soon, very efficient. They are quiet. I've got one of these models as well, the 5.6 gigahash version. So I'll leave a card up above if you want to check that video out, but they're all the same sort of tower style. And they don't make a ton of noise, but it does have 6 fans front and back. Both of these will, so expect some noise from airflow. So we have the $2,800 price tag. And then of course for the L3, the $4,700 price tag. Stepping up in power again, 1700 watts now. So you might need to check your outlet. If you have a 10 amp 110 or 120 outlet, you won't be able to run this one. 9.5 gigahash we're looking at now. So as we said, stepping up. Some of these modern miners now are so much more efficient than when I first got into this years ago. It's actually crazy to see the efficiency, which we'll look at now. But first, let's look at price, of course. We'll stick with the L1 Pro now. $5.19 per day. $1,893 a year. So not going to ROI as fast as the AE0 miners, but it is on script. You can mine Dogecoin or merge mine, so you might have a little bit more security there. If we look at this this big boy, the L3, $9.92 per day, or $3,620 per year. So you're going to ROI a little bit faster on this one, but you will have to spend a little bit more money. But $3,600 a year worth of Dogecoin, if Dogecoin was to get back to all-time highs and do a 3x, you know, that could be 14 grand or something like that, whatever the math works out to. So, you know, some food for thought. Now the L3 is the most efficient out of the two of these at 0.18 joules per mega hash. And the L1, I'm not even sure if the L1 Pro is on here. It's not as efficient. Let's just put it that way. The L3 is the most efficient model. The L1 is somewhere in between these two versions. So that the 6 gigahash version is slightly up here, somewhere around 0.21. So the L3, if you're willing to spend more money, is going to be not only the most profitable option, but the most efficient option, which, as we said at the start, is going to keep you online the longest. That is going to wrap it up, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you have any of these? Do you like any of these? Are they a waste of money? Should you just buy the coin itself? Interested to hear your thoughts. I write back to every comment, so if you leave something down there, I'll get straight back to you. If you like this video or learned something, hit that like button for me, please. Consider subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.